welcome to Method in the Madness. I'm sticking to it. The Nicolas Cage podcast, where we are taking a deep dive into the wonderful career of Nicolas Cage, full-time character actor and insane person. I am Tobias. You might have heard about me from the Adam Sandler podcast. And with me is my co-host from the Adam Sandler podcast, Christopher.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. And today we are talking about Birdy from 1984, right? Yes.
Yes.
A lot of movies. What is this? This is the fourth movie we're making, and it's all in the span of, 2 years?
Yeah, so he made 2 movies, Valley Girl and Rumblefish in 83, and Racing with the Moon, and this one, Birdy, in 84.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's more or less makes two movies a year for a while.
That's and I makes sense since his roles so far. He's only been the leading role in one of them. I mean, this I guess is kind of a leading role too, but not really. Well, and yes, let's talk about Birdy quickly. It's kind of similar. The premise for the movie is kind of similar to last week's episode, Racing with the Moon.
Yeah, I would say this movie was, well, at heart at least. Well, not at heart, but superficially, if you put it like that. Yeah. Exactly the movie I hoped the last movie wouldn't be.
Ah, okay.
I talked about that last episode, that I thought Racing with the Moon would be the old boring topic of we have come back from war and how are we reintegrate into today's society after the things we've seen.
Yeah.
And I was very happy Racing with the Moon wasn't that. So
yeah. Yeah, because Racing with the Moon, as you all remember, was about 2 friends. One very extroverted, kind of braggadocious guy, Nicolas Cage, and one more contemplative, introverted guy, Sean Penn. And their lives as they await going over the Atlantic to join the war in World War II. And Birdy is 2 friends. One is kind of an extroverted, kind of braggadocious guy, Nicolas Cage. Mm-hmm. And then we have the more introverted guy, Matthew Modine this time. Having come back from the war, this time the Vietnam War, and struggling with what happened during the war. That's basically the plot, but most of it, I would say, are flashbacks to their time before the war, like a I don't know, a year or 2, maybe 3 before the war, or at least
there's sort of like 2 storylines where we see after the war and then the flashbacks with the story of how they grew up and before the war. So it's sort of both. But it's told from the perspective of after the war. Yeah, so
it's Nicolas Cage reminiscing. Yeah. Because he's come back from the war with some what's it called? He got out because of an injury to his face. Yeah. See, the movie starts with him wearing looks like some sort of B-movie face bandage. He looks very funny in this movie, I gotta say.
So, had you seen or heard of this movie before?
I'd heard of it before, because I bought it on Blu-ray a while back. I'm not sure why.
Not for this podcast.
No, not for this, from what I can remember. I just bought it because I bought some Nicolas Cage movies a while back. Oh. So I'd heard about it, but I never watched it until now. So I had no idea. I didn't even watch a trailer before I started watching the movie, since I already had it. So I had no idea what there was to be expected from it.
So you went in completely blind.
Yes. Yeah. I had some semblance of the style because I had seen other Alan Parker movies, or at least one other Alan Parker movie. But other than that, no, I had no idea about it.
Yeah, I went into this movie as well as the last movie too, completely blind. I knew the title. I didn't even read what it was about.
Oh, okay.
Until, just before I watched the movie, I read just about after the war, someone is in a mental hospital and his friend is coming to help him out. That was about what I read. Yeah. And that's more or less what it's about. It's this two childhood friends who go off to war separately. They don't go off together as in the last movie.
Yeah, no, yeah.
And then when Nicolas Cage character Al Columbato returned, he was in a sick ward or hospital. And then he hears that his childhood friend Birdy is in a mental hospital, and they sending for him to see if he can help him in some way.
Yeah.
And then when Nicolas Cage or Al comes, he finds that Birdy, as his friend is called, is sort of in a vegetable state, catatonic state.
Yeah, catatonic state. Yeah. He's for what they would have called shell shock back then. I would say PTSD. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the movie is sort of Al trying to get Birdy out of this, while telling stories about their childhood, and we see those stories.
Yeah. One thing that annoyed me and kind of made it, I just made it hard for me to like get into the movie because it was just like a detail. Was if you read the IMDb synopsis or whatever, it says that Birdy starts obsessing with birds after he comes back from the war. So I was expecting him to like become a weirdo, after he comes back. But he was obsessed with birds like from the beginning of the movie. So I was like, I was thrown off, which I guess kind of affected my impression of the movie initially. But I got over it. It was just like, why does he care about birds now? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just right off the bat, this is, and I don't think that's me like interpreting weird or making a joke, but this movie's it is more or less like a furry coming out.
I guess sort of.
I mean, it is because he's obsessed with birds, and he starts the more they progress in both the movie and their relationship before the war. Birdy keeps talking about wanting to fly and wanting to be a bird, and at the end he says that he would rather die to become a bird. That his highest wish is to die and just be reborn as a bird. That he doesn't care about anything except that.
Yeah,
and I mean
basically, but then I gotta say then you have to decide how much you actually. Cause I don't kink shame, but I hate furries. So, cause I like
two very strong statements after each other.
I know, but I don't know. It feels like for furries, it's more of a kink than an actual. I mean, not for everyone, but for the most of them.
Yeah, I'm talking about the one that's not the kink part. I'm talking about the ones that. Like for real trying to live that life and trying to be as close as an animal as possible, and these
almost
people, who talk, yeah, exactly. These people who talk about that, the old meme. I don't even know where it's from, but that's in every way except the physical. I am a wolf.
Yeah.
People who talk in that way. I mean that kind of furry, not the go to a convent and fuck around. That's not that kind of fur.
Yeah. So if Birdy took place today, he would have in his Twitter bio like birdkin.
Oh, and like 100%.
But then I'm wondering, would he be as preachy as furries are today? I'm hoping he wouldn't be, because that's the worst part about furries, that they have to tell everybody that they're fucking furry.
I gotta say, just in a slight tangent about furries here. Well, I brought it up, so.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's like in every culture, that's all or subculture. That's only the loud ones is the ones you hear.
Yeah.
There are the furries that aren't preachy and just try to live their own life and just be what they want to be and be happy about it and doesn't really care about anyone else. The preachy ones, that's the one with the kinks and the weird politics stuff and all that. I'm talking about true is wrong word, but the harmless ones. And I think Birdy is more in that one.
Sure, yeah. That could probably be it. And I mean, the book was written in the 70s, and I don't think furries was a thing yet. I think that was like the late 70s, maybe even early 80s.
I mean, sort of. We have always had sort of furries, like if we talk about like werewolves and the myth of the werewolf and where they come from and things like that. And so I just think that it's not until now that we actually have a name for it, and that society, at least in large, try to accept them and not just put them into a mental ward, as in this movie.
Yeah.
So I think sort of that's sort of the story in a way. And then he has this friend Al, who is like most people around him, but he's the more accepting one. But most people just want him to be normal, quote unquote, and just be a girl. And as his father say, can you just be good at something that's practical, not birds? What are you gonna do with that?
Yeah.
Al is accepting of Birdy, but until it gets to a point where, like, you don't even care about me anymore, you only care about your fucking birds.
Yeah, but the more the movie progresses, he becomes more and more obsessed about the birds.
Yeah.
To the point where he, like, shuns human contact, and just, he sleeps in his bird cage with his birds instead. So, and especially since this takes place in the 60s, I can see why that's a problem for Al, because, like, his best friend just wants to be a bird.
Yeah,
that's gotta be weird, you know?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. And also, Al doesn't seem to be the most, as most of Nicolas Cage's roles this far, at least.
Yeah.
Not that, I wouldn't say that he's dumb, but he's he's very impulsive.
He's the jock type.
Yeah, impulsive jock type, not really thinking about stuff, just doing and saying things.
Yeah.
There's this scene, sort of in the middle of the movie, when they, because they buy a car and fix it up, and then they go out to a pier.
Yeah, where there's a carnival or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and Nicolas Cage says, Al says, we need to get some girls. Birdy is obviously not interested in this. And then Al just goes and gets 2 girls more or less for himself, and Birdy's walking like a few feet behind them. He's like, could we do something for me? And nobody cares. So he's not that considerate of a person. He's kind of one-track mind.
Yeah. And, well, I think, I mean, it's kind of like the beginning of Racing with the Moon, that they're kind of on a forced double date, it feels like, because the girl that Nicolas Cage wants to sleep with, I gotta bring my friend along, which is it's like in Valley Girl as well. I think it's that kind of situation, but kind of like in Racing with the Moon, Birdy is not interested at all in this woman.
Yeah. Or in this situation.
The situation. I mean, he enjoys, they're on a roller coaster ride, he seems to enjoy that, but other than that, no, he doesn't care really.
Yeah. And I mean, in that case, if Al was like a good friend and actually have had some insight, he would maybe take Birdy aside and talk with him and say, hey, how are you doing? Aren't you having fun? Let's do this, and then we can do what you want to do, or something like that. But he just does his own thing and then gets mad at Birdy because Birdy doesn't hook up with the other girl, sort of. Yeah,
he doesn't act normal. Yeah.
So he's not that emotionally intelligent person. That's all I'm saying with Al. But he has a good heart, and I think both of them have a good heart.
Yes, and that's also important to point out that he's the only one who really hangs out with Birdy. That took the time to become friends with Birdy. Everyone else just, calls him the weird kid or whatever. So there's obviously something there. He just doesn't. Yeah, he's not. Yeah, like you said, the most emotionally intelligent person.
Yeah. So that's sort of the movie.
Yeah, it's them growing up and Birdy, like more and more becoming obsessed with birds. Which once again, if there was, I from IMDb, I thought there was going to be a correlation between his time in Vietnam and him wanting to become a bird, but since that was there from the beginning, I had a hard time like figuring out why is Birdy so obsessed. What is the point of him being obsessed with birds in the context of the story? And it's not really, at least not on a surface level. I mean, if you dig a little, there is a reason for it, because, and also because I mentioned before we started talking about this, or started recording, that I watched some interviews with Matthew Modine, and there's a reason for him being, kind of different. But on a surface level, the movie could have just been about the Al character coming to terms with what happened in the war.
I gotta say though, because as I said last week, this is not a story that I really care about, and I'm quite sick of it.
Yeah.
And I think the Birdy thing with the birds and all that, it gave an extra layer to the movie, which made it interesting. If it was only about Nicolas Cage and Birdy wasn't the main character, we didn't see this insight in his character, I would be bored to death of this movie.
Yeah, because then it would have been a super stock Vietnam War movie, like war's bad, man.
Exactly, and
but this at least
we
had
had
something
like
else.
1 billion of those. So
yeah. No, I agree with that, and like if you take into consideration like the fact that Birdy is kind of he's introverted, but he also kind of not emotionally frail seems like an overstatement. Overstatement.
Yeah,
but
he's very confrontational at some points, and he's very aggressive
when it matters. Yeah,
he has hard principles and stand by them.
Yeah.
So he's not this really frail person. It's more like he doesn't care more than he's shy or introverted, more that he doesn't care about the world.
Yeah. But there is and this is partly because of the behind the scenes stuff I watched, that there is the since Birdy was already like before the war, he was already like not that interested. Like he thought the real world, most people dislike him. His mom is mean to him, and that's part of why he is like found this thing then that he likes instead, which is birds. Which is it's kind of like an escapist fantasy almost as well, that if you're a bird you can just fly away, and it's him going to war and seeing the world for what it really is outside of his little bubble. That's why he comes back, and he's all he is catatonic because the real world just or not the war. The real world. He lives in the real world, but I mean the war, basically, I don't know, ruined him, or what do you want to say? Not ruined him, but
it was too much for the.
It was too much for him. Yeah, exactly. And so that's part of why you needed a character like Birdy. Otherwise, you would just have the Al character. While he definitely shows signs of PTSD as well, it's different. It hits different with Birdy as the main character.
Yeah, and I think that is because the problems that Al has, we have seen that so many times. We know about those things with the nightmares and the sudden bursts of anger and sudden bursts of despair. We got these things. We know these things at this point. Well, at least you and I do.
Yeah.
Maybe not every viewer, but if you've seen a few war movies, you know about these things.
Yes.
While Birdy's condition, or the shell shock condition and these things. We haven't really seen that in that way anymore. Well, I haven't at least.
No, not in a character like Birdy. And then also, my interpretation was they don't discuss it, but that's probably because it's the 60s. It takes place in the 60s. I interpreted that he's somewhere on the autism spectrum, but like kind of mildly, because he's still like, he's not like autistic. He's more like Asperger's, which I guess it's the same thing nowadays, but something like that. Just signs of it, like he rarely has eye contact with people, especially when he doesn't know the person. Like the scene in the high school prom when he's dancing with his date, he never like looks her in the eyes, and the fact that he kind of is introverted and shuts down. I wondered if it was supposed to be him being autistic or having Asperger's, but they never bring that up. But it definitely felt like it.
Yeah, definitely. There's somewhere on the spectrum. He's definitely somewhere on the spectrum.
Yeah.
The only times where I doubted that was the parts when he blew up. Like the best example is when he more or less yells at Al's father, berates him for selling their car, which is it feels very out of left field.
Because we hadn't really seen him being that idealistic before.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of came out of nowhere, but it was also like it kind of fits in with someone who's on the spectrum, because like, well, no, it's not supposed to be this way. You're not supposed to sell. It's my car. You can't sell my car. So, and then maybe it doesn't fit in perfectly. Because of when the book was written and when the movie was made, we didn't know as much as we do now about autism and Asperger's.
Yeah, it's probably this is completely just guesswork from my side, but it definitely feels like the writer of the book knew a person who probably had one of those diagnoses and probably took some inspiration from that without actually knowing what kind of diagnosis or things it was, and didn't look into it. More or less, I've seen people that act in this way, and I was gonna use that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's a pretty good movie, I'd say.
I liked it. Yeah. I'm not sure. I gave it. Well, we shouldn't discuss what we're gonna grade the movie yet. But I just on IMDb. I usually grade movies. I don't use Letterboxd. I use IMDb, and I graded this the same as I did Racing with the Moon. Even though I think this is better. But it would need like 100-point scale to differentiate, because I gave them both a 7. Spoilers.
I'm not gonna say what I.
No, we'll say that. But I still think this is. I think this is better than Racing with the Moon. But it's just slightly better. I think the performances are better, especially Matthew Modine. And I liked this is. You can definitely tell that this is based on a book, based on some of the other characters and some of the dialogue, and I liked that the kind of dialogue that was in the movie, and the doctor character and his assistant who keeps spitting on the papers. There's little details like that.
Gotta talk about that.
Yeah,
I guess we now go in super spoiler area. I guess.
I guess
we've spoiled a lot so far, but I'm gonna go in specifics now. So
yeah.
But the doctor character,
yes,
worst part of the movie, ruined the entire movie for me.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, I mean, he was a little all over the place, but it's not that bad.
It's not that I took away any points in the scoring, but every time the doctor came on, I got lost immersion completely, and I was just, what's wrong with this guy? Give me an explanation. What's wrong with this guy? Is the actor bad? Is the direction bad? Is the writing bad? It's just bad. He's just doesn't make sense. He starts screaming sometimes. He's like evilly smiling like a supervillain sometimes. He asks these weird questions for no real reason. And when someone asks him, why are you doing this? He said, well, I just like to know things. But why? What's your issue? And he starts the movie with like, this is my idea. I'm gonna help this guy. Al, come here. I invited you here. I'm gonna give you a house. I'm gonna give you a room. We're gonna fix this guy. It goes 2 days. You have to get out of here, Al. You're just a problem. You're just ruining everything. Why are you even here? I don't understand anything. What happened between these two scenes?
I think this is just me spitballing, but since it takes place for the most part or at least the now scenes, so to speak, takes place in a mental hospital. I'm guessing that guy, because he's also an old, not a Vietnam War veteran, probably like a World War II veteran, because he mentions his ranks a couple of times, because he outranks.
He is
Nicolas Cage.
They don't say which war,
but I'm guessing World War II. And I'm guessing he might be a little crazy himself, partly because of the war, being shell shocked as they called it, and also having to work with quote unquote crazy people for that long.
But again, fucking explain that, because I was thinking, seriously thinking for like the first fourth of the movie, that. Are they going to reveal that it's just a mental patient who put on a doctor's coat, and they were just, we're letting him play around. He's calmer that way. Or could we get like some kind of a line or an explanation from a nurse that he never really been the same after the war, but he's the only one we got in these times, or just anything. Why is he the lead doctor of a mental ward when he should be locked up? and he's not a weird doctor like Robin Williams is in what's that?
Patch movie? Adams.
Yeah, Patch Adams. Not unconventional. No, he's just antagonistic towards everyone for some weird reason.
Yeah, I found it very strange too. It was one scene I thought when I watched it, I thought I'd fallen asleep and missed something, because out of nowhere he starts screaming like, "Oh, we've been going at this for days. This is useless. What happened? What did I miss?" But no, that was
this was your idea.
I rewinded it. It was just that he just started screaming all of a sudden. But once again, it's based on a book. Characters in books tend to have more quirks that might not be explained as well, because or explained over a longer time, since a book is usually much longer than a movie. So maybe something got lost in the translation there. I don't know. For me, it was just we all go a little crazy sometimes. And since he works in a mental hospital, he lost it a little bit. And then it kind of, for me at least, kind of confirmed it when his secretary was crazy as well. Because he keeps spitting because he has this bad taste in his mouth. Obviously psychosomatic from the war. He can't get the taste out of his mouth. And then you have that's really the only crazy ones, except for Birdy that we see at least. But it's all broken people, because you see the guy without legs playing basketball, and one who's climbing up some ropes. It's supposed to be like a house full of broken people. Even the nurse, even though she doesn't have a lot to do in the movie, it's obviously kind of I don't know, broken in a way. From
there's something about her.
Certain actions. Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I just think the doctor character should have been either
he stuck out. Yeah.
Yeah, either they should have rewritten him completely, or they should have split him up into two characters. One which is doctor, and one is like the head of the hospital or something.
Yeah.
So they could have because clearly they wanted or needed an antagonist in the today's story, or the current story. They needed someone who would push Al to do these things and not take his time and be more desperate, and
give up on Birdy.
Yeah, and get the clock ticking and feeling the pressure. Obviously that's the main point of the Doctor, but either have him like that through the entire movie, or have another person who is that. Because it doesn't make sense to call in a guy more or less as a favor and then start screaming at him that he isn't. There's no point for him to be there, and that he's just wasting time. Well, I did this sort of because you asked me. If you didn't ask me, I wouldn't be here. You did this.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really hated Doctor, but except that, I thought everyone made a really good job as The acting was phenomenal, I'd say, from everyone.
Yeah.
Even the few times kids were in the movie, I thought they were pretty good.
Yeah, they were pretty good. And just pointing out some of the minor characters then, because just like in Racing with the Moon, we had another Seinfeld actor in this one, Sandy Barron, who played Nicolas Cage's father, Mr. Columbato. He plays one of the best, cameo characters in Seinfeld history. He plays a guy called Jack Klompus, who's, I don't know, you haven't seen Seinfeld, right?
Yeah, I've seen every episode.
You have? Okay.
Yeah. It was a few years ago, but I have seen him. Yeah, and I know him.
You know him, yeah. The guy with the astronaut pen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, ooh, that's the guy.
I didn't recognize him until you just said it.
No, he looks a lot younger in this one.
Yeah, because I had to look up his picture and right. But I didn't notice that through the movie. I didn't.
Yeah, he's the sworn enemy of Seinfeld's father.
Yeah. No, isn't it George's father?
No, because he lives down in Florida. He's a neighbor
right.
of Seinfeld's dad, whatever his name is. I don't remember. Yeah. So that was fun to see him play like. That's another comparison to Racing with the Moon, or sort of, because Birdy's dad. Once again, you have a very nice father figure, at least for one of the characters.
Yeah, it was very good. It was very good father. I would say he's the one Racing in the Moon is a better father figure, but this one is pretty close. Yeah,
very very close, which was kind of fun. There was a lot of similarities, and this is since this takes place after the war, and the book actually takes place during World War II. This is kind of like a sequel to Racing with the Moon. It could have been Sean Penn going crazy and ending up in a hospital.
If only they made because the book was set in World War II.
Yes.
And this the movie's in Vietnam, so it would have been closer if it was World War.
Yeah, but that was and they even mentioned that in the trivia for the movie that's there's more mentions of Racing with the Moon in the trivia for Birdy than there is about Racing with the Moon anywhere else. Yeah. Which is kind of interesting because they are very alike in that way.
And there was a few other people that I recognized, at least.
I recognized some of them.
So the spitting assistant.
Yeah,
he's been in a few war movies, I think.
I've seen him in movies, but I recognize him because he plays like an antagonist or whatever in one episode in The X-Files. He plays this really hard-boiled commander.
Yeah. That's more or less what I see him as a hard-boiled commando type guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then there's this. I had to look up his name. I didn't know it. Bruno Kirby, the other Italian.
I recognized him from something. He's in The Godfather.
He's in a lot of mafia movies. Not sure if he's in a Godfather. He's in Donnie Brasco, at least.
Oh, yes.
He's in Godfather Part 2.
Oh, yeah. But I probably remembered him from Donnie Brasco. But okay, yeah.
So he's been in a few mafia movies. So with more Sleepers, isn't that?
Yeah, it was his Sleepers.
Yeah,
I randomly watched Sleepers like last year for no reason really. It's an okay movie. I don't know.
Yeah, but he's been in a few things, and I think that was the ones I recognized.
I kind of recognized the nurse Rourke, but looking at her now, I'm not sure from what. Oh no, wait, yeah. Oh well, she's in Daylight, the Sylvester Stallone.
Okay.
Trapped in a tunnel movie.
Yeah.
Oh yes, she's the wife of the family that's going through a divorce. Okay, yeah, I know she is. Yeah.
I do not remember the Daylight movie.
Oh, I love Daylight. I
have seen it like a few times because I know I loved it as a teenager, but I haven't seen it since then.
I've seen it well, not 100 times, but I've seen it millions of times. I have a guilty pleasure, which is disaster movies. Daylight is up there for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then I don't think I recognized anyone. Not specifically like, ooh, that person.
Yeah. But about the same amount of people as in Racing with the Moon.
Yeah.
And Matthew Modine, I don't think I've seen him in anything this young before.
No. It's a name I've heard a lot, but I probably didn't see him in anything until The Dark Knight Rises.
Wait, I'm an idiot.
Oh?
He's Joker in Full Metal Jacket.
Well, yeah, sure, yeah, that's true. But
But after that,
yeah, except for that, yeah, Full Metal Jacket. I saw that when I was a kid, and then I didn't watch it until I was like in my mid-20s. So,
but he's very current now, or he was a few years ago, because he was one of the antagonists in Stranger Things. Yeah.
Yes, I don't know. He's in the first season. I didn't watch any other. Is he?
He's not in the second season, but he has acting credits.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's more like flashbacks and things like that.
Well, we're not gonna spoil.
We're not gonna spoil Stranger Things.
I mean, I don't care, but maybe someone who listens to this don't want it spoiled. So.
But yeah, he did a very good job. Very impressive.
Oh yes, very good, and especially when it's a character that a lot of times is just quiet. Still, not saying anything, not moving, or even making faces or whatever. I think he sold it very well.
And extremely likable, as in the flashbacks.
Oh yes.
I think Nicolas Cage also did a very good job in this movie.
Yes,
especially his tearful speech at the end.
Yeah, it was almost like, in a good way, almost on the border of being like ridiculous, or like overacting, but he kept it right in the perfect spot where it felt real.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very extreme emotions, and in that point, it's very hard not to overact. So it shows that he has good acting chops.
Yeah. I would say, judging if we're going like we're rediscovering Nicolas Cage, this is his best work so far, I would say.
Oh yeah, I would say so. I was a little skeptical at the beginning part of the movie, because it felt like he more or less only played the same part he'd done in the other movies we've seen so far. The best friend, very extrovert, very impulsive guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it shaped up somewhere in the middle.
And it was also interesting to see the difference in the character, pre-war and post-war.
Yeah.
He's almost a completely different character. And even though it looked kind of ridiculous, it helped to have him like bandaged up. to see that it's not just emotional scars, it's physical scars as well.
Yeah.
But he had it threw me off sometimes because he had. I guess that's just how he looks. Especially now, I mentioned that he looks almost like he's like sleepy or aloof before in especially like Valley Girl, and he kind of has that here as well, where he's just like open mouth and just staring into nothing. But with the bandage and 2 of his teeth missing, we'll get to the teeth. We have to talk about the teeth. I'm sorry. He looked ridiculous. It was like, oh no, he can't look like that. But then it kind of became part of his character, so it was good. It was really, really good.
Yeah, and I'd say that's, again, because he did such a good job as an actor, that he made a sort of a ridiculous way of looking into a sad character that you very fast forgot that it actually looked kind of silly.
Yeah, exactly. He sold it, as they say.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so you mentioned that. So last episode we said no more talking about Nicolas Cage's teeth.
Yeah, because the chronology doesn't seem to fit.
Yeah, but you want to talk about his teeth?
Yeah, because the first thing you see in the movie, since they're covering up his face, is his teeth, which are crooked, so they can't be his fake teeth. Mm-hmm. The first trivia thing on IMDb is, he pulled out 2 teeth for this role without anesthetics. Oh, fucking goddamn it! And then watching that interview with Matthew Modine, he takes like he digresses for like 2 minutes to only talk about Nicolas Cage's teeth.
So
I was like, "Damn you, God! Why are you mocking me?"
So I noticed the teeth straight away, as you said. It's sort of framed in a way that you can't miss it.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, we're gonna have to talk about teeth in this one too.
I told myself before I started the movie, exactly when I saw the teeth, I was just like, I see them. I will not acknowledge them. We're not going to talk about teeth. But then everything is just teeth. So,
but
we're
again,
talking
I didn't see this behind the scenes thing you're talking about. So, what are they talking about with the teeth more than why did he pull the teeth out? I don't understand.
Well, I'm thinking once again. I think the timeline is off because he had to pull out those teeth. Like it was a medical situation because he had baby teeth. Still, that he never lost when he was like, you lose all your baby teeth.
Oh, okay.
He still had baby teeth left in his mouth, and his regular adult teeth were growing out behind them. So then, you have to pull your baby teeth. It's just a thing, that you have to do.
Yeah.
And he thought, well, since I'm making this movie, I'll just pull them out and it'll look like I've been, I lost some teeth in the explosion or whatever. Because, his face gets fucked up from an explosion. Spoiler. So, and Matthew Modine added that, like, it added so much to, like, his character that it was part of his, like, physical malformation. But if then he couldn't have had his teeth fixed before, because then they would have pulled out his baby teeth back then when they gave him, the new shiny chompers that he's supposed to have had for 2 years now.
I think we just need to strike that trivia for Valley Girl.
It can't be right.
It's not correct.
It can't be correct. Because then you wouldn't be pulling baby teeth in 84. if you got your teeth fixed in 82. Anyway, that's it for the teeth.
When you just Google Nicolas Cage teeth, the only thing that really comes up is this Birdy fact.
Oh, okay.
So that he pulled these teeth out for this movie, and then what I can see, they don't go into this what you said about the baby teeth thing. They said that he did it for this movie, and then after this movie, he got in veneers and stuff.
Oh, okay. Well.
But this is just like the first result on Google, so don't quote me on this. But but this Valley Girl trivia that you dreamt up, I don't think.
What? I didn't dream it up. It's there.
I don't think is correct.
No, it can't be correct.
Unless he fixed his teeth like 4 separate times through his career. I don't know.
I guess, but I mean, then he shouldn't have said that. Oh, this is the last movie made with his real teeth. No,
maybe in Valley Girl, after Valley Girl, he changed out one teeth and it's not a complete set of his real teeth anymore. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway,
yeah.
Let's see if we can put it to rest. Nicolas Cage teeth.
I'm done talking about his teeth.
Well, you said that last week.
I know, I was done talking about his teeth, but then everything was just pointing towards his teeth. Trivia, interviews, the movie. So we just had to mention it, but that's it. Unless he makes a movie where he's a dentist, I'm not going to talk about his teeth anymore. I'm over it.
So, I think that was the main things. Oh, no, right. The ending is interesting.
Yeah, the ending is a little...
It's a little off. It's a little weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, very spoiler. Spoiler of the ending this time. So, at the end, Nicolas Cage... Al. I keep saying Nicolas Cage, but yeah, Al. Yeah. He's... the doctor says, your time's up, you need to get out of here, because I'm a weird character and I hate you now.
Yeah.
So Al says, okay, just give me a few minutes to just say goodbye one last time to him.
Yeah.
Alone. And so they let him. And then he sort of breaks down, in a way, and starts talking about, for the first time, instead of talking about their memories together, he starts talking about what he's been through in the war. What happened to him, and he sort of opens up for the first time to Birdy that he has this problem and that he needs Birdy to go through this, and that in a way snaps Birdy out of his catatonic state. And that's when we also, I think, because he starts talking about, they've always talked about before the war, but he starts talking about the war, so we get to see what happened to Birdy. Because before that, we only knew that he went missing in action for a month. But then we find out why that was. So I think maybe because he has to confront what actually happened when Al starts talking about what happened to him. I think that's maybe what snaps him out. Or at least, snaps him out of the shock, basically. Yeah, or maybe just... They don't explain why, but it's kind of open, and I think it should be. But it could also be just that Birdy for once feels that he's not alone in the human world.
Yeah.
That other people has the same pain or problems that he has.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Birdy snaps out of it, and then Doctor comes in and says, "You need to fuck off." And Al says, "No, but he talked. He just spoke." And the Doctor says, "I don't believe you. Get away from here."
Yeah, and the second the Doctor leaves, he starts talking again. It's just
and then Al sort of says that he changes. He goes from before Birdy talks. He says, "I'm just gonna stay here with you forever."
Yeah.
But now when Birdy is apparently back in the world of the living, he decides they need to break out and get out somewhere, do things.
Yeah, they need to get out and live their lives.
Yeah, again, the impulsive nature of and emotional nature of Al.
Yeah.
Just do stuff.
I get it, but yeah, it is a little. It goes from 0 to 100 very fast. Yeah.
And then the Doctor comes in, and Al sort of, well, not sort of. He attacks the Doctor.
Yeah, and he fights off some orderlies.
Yeah, and the orderlies. Then they run away and have this escape scene, and they go up to the roof, and Al barricades the door, and you see Birdy go and stand on the ledge of the building with his arms high. And we all know it. He's gonna fly. We all always wanted. And then he jumps. And then we have this emotional scene with Al when he goes up and look down and see, Birdy's on a little lower roof.
Yeah, it's like 6 feet.
and looks back at Al and says, "What?"
And then we get La Bamba by Richie Valens.
And then the movie ends. And it's a very open-ended and weird kind of ending.
Yeah.
But it does very well symbolizes sort of their relationship. And their situation, that Because it's not the first time that Birdy done something like this.
No, yeah, like we said, he doesn't really know. He doesn't do emotions very well. So him not seeing what the problem with him jumping off a ledge when he's in an insane asylum. He doesn't like, what's the problem? I just wanted to jump down,
And specifically since their whole sort of life, he always talked about, I wanted to fly, and now he's actually in a mental asylum. And there's a lot of it's a lot of context.
Yes, that he doesn't really get.
Yeah, and I think that's again, it symbolizes their relationship, that they don't get each other on an emotional plane all the time, but they don't need to. They're still best friends.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think I don't think it could have ended in a better way, sort of.
No, it could have been like a super sad ending that he never got out of the catatonic state, and Al stayed with him and became a patient as well. That would have been.
Or it could have been a very unrealistic Hollywood ending where they just he's fixed.
He's better now. We'll all leave. Woohoo!
Yeah, and then they leave, and then we have a flash, and 10 years later when they eating dinner with their wives, and Birdy has opened an aviary where he breeds birds. It wouldn't have worked either.
No.
It's a healthy in between.
Yeah, and they kind of it's kind of like, where are we going to end this? Right here. Oh, okay. And that works.
And also, when we watched it, my girlfriend said, so the whole movie was just a build-up to one joke. And you could watch the movie that way.
Sure, yeah. And it was, and the joke is even a callback to an earlier scene in the movie where he also jumps off. He jumps off a trash heap.
Yeah. So the entire movie sort of is a build-up to this one joke, and it's like the director do finger guns at us, and then their credits roll.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
He didn't die.
But yeah, it's a pretty good movie. And so you said you gave it a 7?
I gave it a 7. But I think with time, because I saw it this morning, just like with Rumblefish, this will probably end up being an 8, maybe even a 9, because of the specifically because of the performances. But at the moment, it's a 7. But I like I said, I did enjoy it more than Racing with the Moon. But I gave that a 7 as well, because this would probably be like a 7.7 or something. But we're just doing 1 to 10.
So what you're saying is you're doing your 4th 7 of the 4 movies we watched.
I know.
Okay, so. Fine. I'm actually also gonna go with a 7.
Okay.
With this one, I gave a 7 to Racing with the Moon and a 7 to Birdy, and I'm gonna go the opposite to you. The more I'm gonna think about this, I'm probably gonna go down to a 6.
Okay.
Because I think the movie's gonna stay at a 7. It's a weak 7, while Racing with the Moon is a strong 7, and it's mostly because of my own taste.
Okay.
Racing with the Moon is more in my taste than this one. I had more fun, I was more enjoyed and more entertained in Racing with the Moon than this one.
Yeah.
And it is mostly because of the it's hard after the war thing. I'm bored of it. So yeah.
This was kind of. I wonder if, since it came out in the same year, I wonder if this one kind of buried Racing with the Moon a little bit. Because this was a lot more successful. Yeah,
and a lot easier to find.
Yeah. I had like a collector's edition Blu-ray thing.
Yeah.
And it was also it showed in Cannes in '85, and it was up for the what's it called, the Palme d'Or, the big prize. But it like won the critics award instead, so it still won like a big thing. Which is kind of weird because I've never heard about it before. Yeah, before I found the Blu-ray.
Yeah, I never ever heard of it either. Like a lot of these movies, never heard of them before.
Yeah. Here we go. Oh yeah, Alan Parker won the grand prize of the jury at Cannes Film, and was nominated for a Palme d'Or. Right.
Alan Parker wasn't he like sort of a critic's darling at this point? Alan Parker.
Sort of. He made. What did he make before this? He made. Well, that's in the 70s. He made Bugsy Malone. He made Midnight Express.
Midnight
Fame.
Express is a good movie.
Yeah. And then he made Pink Floyd, The Wall. And that was just before Birdy.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe not a favorite, but he's definitely had a good reputation at that point.
Oh yeah. And I guess that it kind of continued after this. He didn't make a lot of movies. He made more. I think he made more music videos than movies.
Yeah. Well, he did make the best movie in his career, The Commitments.
All right, I still haven't seen The Commitments.
You haven't seen it?
Nope.
Really?
No.
What? That movie's amazing.
I
see it like once a year.
Everyone says it's amazing, and I'm just annoyed because I don't like. I've only heard the music, and I don't like the music. And it's not really a musical, but but it's kind of, and I don't like it.
It's a musical if I don't remember how much they play. Spinal Tap.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
If that's a musical, Commitment is a musical.
There's only music like when they're on stage, and it's not. But I'd seen before this. I'd seen Mississippi Burning once again when I was way too young. And then I'd seen like a couple of years ago or something like that. I saw Angel Heart, which he made after Birdy. That's a pretty good movie. I got the ending spoiled for me. That kind of ruined the movie, but definitely check that one out.
Yeah, I saw Midnight Express was a lot of years ago.
Yeah, I've seen that too, but
yeah, I saw it. It was like
way too young.
Late one night in like 20 years ago. No, but like 15 years ago maybe. And I was just I couldn't sleep, so I went up from the bed and started putting on the TV, and this was the movie that was on. Just started. I'll watch a few scenes of this. I don't know what it is. And I saw it all, and I think I went to bed like 5 in the morning, and it was amazing.
Yeah. I probably saw it 20 years ago, because it would have been 10, 11, yeah. And not getting it at all, just being scared of all the stuff happening to him.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched it since, but probably should.
Yeah. But I guess that's Birdy.
That's Birdy, yeah.
So next week we're gonna watch the Boy in Blue.
Yes. Which I haven't even read up on, so I don't know what it's about.
I haven't heard of it either, but I know it's another one of those hard to find movies.
Right.
So we'll see.
We'll see, but we'll find a way.
We'll find a way, but I think it's gonna be hard. And if someone is watching with us, the next week is gonna be a hard one to get. Yeah. Unless you go buy the DVD and find it. I don't know.
Well, yeah, sure. If you can find it.
It's not streaming anywhere.
Yeah. But that's for next week. And as you all know, if you're listening to this on Spotify or iTunes, be sure to like and follow and give 5 stars or whatever you can do. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit the subscribe button and give us a thumbs up. And leave some comments if you've seen the movie, of course. But if you really want to help the show out, and if you want to get the episodes at least 1 week in advance, check us out on Patreon. There are links everywhere, but it's just patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. So you'll get all the episodes in advance. You'll get exclusive episodes from my other podcast, the Spoilercast, and some exclusive videos are coming up later this month. Now here in June, we're recording this. So please check us out there and support us on Patreon as well. But until next week when we're going to watch Boy in Blue, thank you so much for listening, and have a good one. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
The Nicolas Cage podcast is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It's produced, directed, and edited by Tobias Widén. Hosted by Tobias Widén and Christopher Bylén after an original idea by Christopher Bylén. Executive producer is Annika Widén. And a big thank you to all our sponsors over at Patreon for keeping the show going. Laura Kinney, Rasmus Jonsson, Mom, and Dad. If you also want to join our Patreon, you can at www.patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Help us keep the show going.